Like that. Wow, I actually finished that level and did really, really well on it. Why does this always happen when I make a video? I don't know, but hey, I'll take it. All right. What's up, folks, and welcome to Indie Showcase. This is a game that I've never really seen anything like before, and despite the fact that I played it for less than an hour before recording this video, I already think I've learned pretty much all I need to know to showcase why this is pretty cool. So this is RAYZE. It's pitched as what they call a first-person aim racer, and I'd say that's pretty accurate. I'm also going to say that the later levels of this game have made me realize that I'm getting old. My reflexes definitely ain't what they used to be. But yeah, this is really, really awesome. Now you may be saying, hold on a minute, you've said you played this game for less than an hour and it already looks like you've got more than half the levels unlocked. Well, that's true. There's not necessarily a lot of levels in this game by number, but the challenge level ramps up in this thing pretty darn quick. And this is very much a game about score attack and competing for the leaderboards, of which you can see here there are online leaderboards for this. You're meant to play these levels over and over and over again to perfect your runs. Speedrunners are gonna love this thing. And, well, it's probably not gonna actually take me that long to explain this game to you because it's really simple on its face. This is only on the PC, but frankly, I don't see how this would ever work anywhere else because you need a mouse for this. The movements required are very precise and very fast, and I don't see how a controller would be doable, to be honest with you. So I'm going to start here right at the beginning just to give you the most basic concepts, and then we'll move forward a little bit. So this is not a rhythm game, despite the fact that there is a lot of really cool high beat music in it. The objective in this is to get through the levels, but not to a specific rhythm and not sync to any kind of track. The music is just to keep you pumped up playing it, which it does a good job for. So what you want to do is click on all those little aim points and get to the end of the level, hopefully without missing, and as fast as you bloody can. That's the point. And as you can see here, there's a bunch of different stats. You know, how many attempts it took you, the total amount of time you spent, which is really how you're graded, your maximum combo, and as well as your accuracy. You get a style rating. The longer it takes you to finish the level, and especially the more misses you take, will significantly impact how that score works out. The game loves to tell you very clearly what position you are on the global leaderboards because, again, that's kind of the whole point. So if we go into the second sector here, you're going to see that things start to get a little bit more complicated. And as you can see there, I just died. So hitting the walls kills you. Not getting to the end in enough time kills you. You'll see there that you've got a little percentage meter under the timer. Well, what that is, that's basically your fuel, if you will. If that runs out, you're basically hosed. And some of the levels, that's quite long. Other levels, it's fairly short. This one, reasonably short, again, because we're fairly early on. There we go. I actually went up in my position, so it told me that. Got an S+ on that. And of course, the levels have instant restart, which I absolutely love. So if you're going through one and you know you're on track to screw up, just tap the R key and boom. No loading, no nothing. What loads there are in this game are minuscule because that's the thing. From a position of level design, well, not level design, but in terms of aesthetics and stuff, this game is quite simple. I really like the look of it. It's very Tron-y, you know, it's very, very bright popping colors. I actually quite enjoy that. I really like the aesthetic this is going for. But the levels are not large in terms of complexity of space, and they're not, you know, they're not super large. They're designed to be contained challenges, which is really so. This game does not require, I don't think it requires a super powerful computer to run, and there's definitely not a lot of things in terms of load times. So as you get through this, by finishing one level, you will unlock the next level. And the thing is, you can finish a level and do kind of a pretty crap job of it, and as long as you get to the end, that's fine. You can move on. And honestly, if all you want to do in this thing is just do the levels, get to the end, and sort of one and done it, I think you're kind of missing the point the developers intended, but you absolutely can do that if you want. And I think you'd still get a pretty fun experience out of it. You'll still get a decent amount of time out of it. It will probably take you, I'm going to guess, a few hours to get through it, because while it doesn't take you long to get through the first few sections, the later ones are rough. And I'll give you an example of those. But you see, what the aim of things really are in this is, no pun intended, is to finish the level as quick as possible, and also to finish it, you know, with as much style and speed as you possibly can. You don't actually have to hit every one of these yellow markers in order to finish a level. You can miss some, and the game won't punish you for that. But if you can hit them all, you're going to get the most speed possible here. You can slow yourself down as well if you're really having trouble by clicking the right mouse button. But again, that makes the level take longer. That makes it harder for you to get to the end. And as you saw there, even when there's points left that you can use to accelerate yourself, if you can see the white point at the end of the level and click on it, you can finish it. Though if you do that too far back, you might run out of fuel, which is another thing that's happened to me a couple of different times. And as you can see here, like, I'm already upping my place in the leaderboards because most of these levels I've only attempted a couple of times. And this is where things start to get a little more gnarly. The levels start to move. You'll find that there are multiple paths you can take through the levels. There'll be obstructions in your way. There'll be all of these other potential things that can slow you down. And the interesting thing is, in some of the levels, it's actually possible to take multiple paths, and some might be harder than others, but may make things actually go a little bit quicker. You see, I actually failed out there because though I was just about to get to the end, I didn't have enough fuel left. And then there I did it, but I missed a couple of times, so that's going to hurt me as well. You see, I just made it there, but I didn't do so great on that one. And that's really the core concept of this. The levels are going to get more tricky as you go. This is the last level I played, and honestly, this one is gnarly. You have to sort of really figure out the route through the level here. And the thing about this game is, while I actually think it's really cool and I enjoy it, I think some of my biggest fun with this would actually be watching hardcore speedrunners play this. Because the amount of dexterity it would require in order to get the world record times on this is one of those things where, you know how sometimes you watch speedrunners of certain games, especially dexterity heavy games, and you're like, these people are Commander Data. Like, that, wow, I actually finished that level and did really, really well on it. Why does this always happen when I make a video? I don't know. But hey, I'll take it. All right. Yeah, so when you see some of these speedrunners that are just so good at a game, you have to think they're not human almost. That's what this game wants you to be ultimately. And I think it would be amazing to see some of that crazy high level play of this. I'm definitely going to be looking for that. You know, there's going to be people all over speedrun.com over this thing, and I think that's going to be really cool to see. And the thing is, though, this game did remind me that I'm very old and that my reflexes are not what they used to be. You know what? It actually, in some ways, also made me realize that maybe they're not as bad as I'm thinking they are, and that maybe my reaction times, you know, for someone who's over 40, maybe aren't as bad as I potentially thought they were. And this does feel like a game that, as I practice it, it does feel like I'm getting better at it with time. And that, you know, it's not just a question of, well, I'm never going to be able to get through this thing because, you know, I'm just too old, my reflexes are too weak, this game is made for the youth, and I'm never going to get through it. Not really, because most of the time, if you spend some time on a level, you start to feel like, just like that, you start to feel like you're getting better as you go. And I'm like, you know what? Some of that's memorization, some of it's just straight up practice, and some of it is that, like that, as you put a little bit more time into it, your reflexes do start to improve. and your hand-eye coordination starts to improve. And I think this actually is a really good game for someone who I could literally see playing this game for a long period, contributing to better reflex abilities in games in general, you know, for things like first-person shooters or the like. I could actually see, if you spent some real time on it with this thing, things maybe getting a little easier in that. Maybe not, but certainly a possibility. And you know, some people might think that for the price, the amount of content in this game is a little bit lacking in terms of the number of levels. I really don't think so, only because, yeah, is the raw number of levels a little thin? If you're gonna measure it only by those raw numbers, I mean, I guess sure, but like I said, you're playing this game wrong if you just want to one and done it. You're really going to want to spend a long time, possibly hours, you know, obsessively working on levels and really perfecting your run and trying to get the best time possible. That is the kind of player that this thing is really designed for. I didn't even know what to do here. Well, what do you know about that? And if you're not that kind of player, honestly, I don't think the game is probably for you, and I think that's okay. You know, I think that the designers of this game really understand that this is not something that's going to be for everybody at the end of the day. And I can always respect a developer that's willing to do that, that's realizing that they're developing a game for a niche that clearly the developers found themselves to be a part of, and that they want to cater to the needs and desires of that player base. That's exactly what RAYZE feels like to me. And is it a game that I'm going to put all those hours into to get world record times? Probably not to that crazy extent that real competitive people will. But is it a game that I'm definitely going to go through all the levels on and probably try to see how high up the boards I can get on a few of them? Yeah, I probably will, to be honest with you. It definitely has that just one more run feel to it. And that's really the core element of it. I mean, there's not a lot more to show you here about this thing. This is really a simple game in concept, but I think it's very well designed. I think the controls are super tight. I think it runs incredibly well. I think they picked a great soundtrack for keeping you energized and hyped up while you're playing it. I think the levels are short enough that you're never going to get overly frustrated. You're never going to, because you're not going to be spending, 10 minutes going through a level, make one little screw up at the end, lose the whole run and be like, oh, screw this. Nothing's that quick. So, and because you can restart instantly, I've said this before about other games, it doesn't give you the time to get frustrated. People who get really mad at games a lot of the time tend to do that because if they have to wait for, say, like a level reload or other things like that give you time to reflect on your failure and time to either get upset at yourself or make excuses for how the game screwed you over, that's what tends to lead to real player frustration and aggravation. But when you fail at something and you can just literally hit a button, be right back into the action, and you don't have time to think about that, you can just say, okay, let's go again. It makes it a lot easier. And even if it's a game like this where you are going to fail a lot by design, you don't get mad at it. And I haven't been with this. I've had a smile on my face the whole time I've been playing this, even when I've been failing at something repeatedly. And I think that's a hallmark of a really good gameplay loop and really solid design. And I think these developers absolutely did that. So yeah, it's a simple game. There's really not a lot to talk about in terms of mechanics. I've showed you a lot of it here, but it's a game that I have really, really enjoyed. It's been a very pleasant surprise, and I definitely intend to play more of it. I think this is really cool, and I hope it finds success and this developer can do some more stuff with it, because I think they did something pretty neat here. So yeah, that is RAYZE. It is out now only on the PC. Like I said, I don't know if this could ever actually work anywhere else, but if you want something unique and different that's a challenge, and especially if you like competing against other real-world players, I definitely pick this up. Only thing I kind of wish it had was replays for the leaderboards, but I also understand why it doesn't, because then that's literally going to teach you how to how to min-max the game. Like, in a shmup, it's one thing, but in a game like this, I get it, because you don't want the speedrunners spewing the secret sauce, right? You need people to be able to discover things on their own, so I understand that. But yeah, really, really cool time, and I think it's worth checking out if you're into fast games and you want a good reflex challenge. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. If you did like what you saw here, please do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, click the bell, and leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think about this. Have you seen other games like this before? Are there other good reflex games like this that you'd recommend? I'd be curious to hear about those. And as always, you can follow me over at twitch.tv/pxabstraction for multiple variety streams a week, including coverage of indie games that often don't make it over here because they're better suited to a streaming format. We have a lovely little community over there, and I would absolutely love to see you. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next Indie Showcase. You folks have yourselves a good one. Take it easy, everybody.